know what it feels like when the apps drop and you go to your computer and you have your Disney music playing in the background, like Go the Distance, and you're just so excited because that time has come for you to apply for the Disney College Program, because that's all you've wanted is the Disney College Program. So you fill out your application and you send it off in its merry way with a dose of pixie dust, and you're just so thrilled and so excited that you finally did it. You finally applied. And then you look at your dashboard and you see the sad, lonely title of Submission.
You don't really understand what submission is, and everyone else kind of gives you their ideas on what submission is. But in reality, submission is a black hole of despair and lots of waiting. Notice on the group lately that a lot of people are really curious and don't really understand the whole concept of being in submission. And as someone who was in submission not once, but twice, I figured, oh well, it's better than to make a video about being in submission and kind of sharing all the information I've gathered through the past year to kind of help those of you who are stuck in limbo. You're either in submission because your application wasn't strong enough, or you could just be in submission because you gotta remember, the Disney College Program has the numbers vary, so let's guesstimate and say the Disney College Program has about 80,000 people that apply per semester. Now, take that 80,000 and dwindle it down to about 7,000 that actually get phone interviews, and then 4,000 that actually end up getting picked. When you look at those numbers, you gotta really question. There's a lot more people that end up in submission or no longer in consideration than actually getting picked to move forward. Now, what really sucks about being in submission is you don't get a web-based interview. You end up kind of essentially just sending in your one application, but you never get to proceed through the entire application process, which is a web-based interview and phone interview. So, there's a reason for that, and I will explain. So, when you go to your URL for when you apply for any Disney job, you're going to see what's called brass ring in the URL. So, an applicant tracking system software is a software application that enables electronic handling of recruitment needs. An ATS can be implemented or accessed online on an enterprise or small business level depending on the needs of the company. So essentially, that means Disney is implementing a computer system to take over the jobs of an actual in-person recruiter. And what the computer system does is it saves time but also makes it easier for recruiters by going through your application and flagging certain terms and words. So, for instance, let's say you work customer service. Okay, you put customer service in on your application, but Disney, in their keywords, uses guest service. So it's certain terms like that that the computer kind of flags and looks for in your application. And if your application meets those certain terms, that's when it'll move forward to an actual recruiter for a person to look at and review. And then from there, they will decide whether or not you can proceed on into the application process by sending you the web-based interview or phone interview, which you get after your web-based interview. So, I have a couple tips to share that kind of helped me with this application season, because after being in submission twice, I was like, I can't deal with this a third time because I'm so sad and I really want to do the Disney College Program. And it really did help me because this time I actually got to go through the entire process, and I am in the limbo of waiting in progress with so many other of you. But hey, that's okay. My time will come. But hey, I made it this far. I can't give up yet. So anyway.
Tip number 1.
Research. Research your job. So that means any job history you've had in the past, research it. That means go online and take your job description that you think you have for your job and research terms that you would want to put onto your resume to make it look more professional with like big people language instead of like just generic resume terms. I don't know how to explain it. So like you essentially want to have the best, like most educated lingo you can have on your resume. So do your research and look for job descriptions. I utilize this even in my regular resumes outside of like Disney college programs. So that way when they review it, they can kind of see, okay, she's not just a former housekeeper, and she's not just working in retail. There's more to it than just those little things.
So tip number 2.
Keywords. Keywords. And I know the number one question you're all gonna ask me is, what keywords can I use? And the thing is, I can't really tell you what keywords you can use because you all work different jobs and you have different skills and you have different volunteer experiences. So like for me, what I did is I took all my previous work histories from the past 10 years.
Because I'm super old.
And what I did was I matched my jobs up with different job descriptions. So the number one thing I did is you want to utilize the job descriptions that Disney has. So what I did is I matched up like one job I had, which was working in housekeeping, and matched it up to the job description that Disney had. So what I did was I took all the Disney keywords that you can go through, and like literally all you got to do is look at a job description compared to a different job description, and you will understand what the keywords are. It's like there is no like magical keyword I can just give you. You just got to kind of do your research and like take a shot at it, because that's what I did. So you want to utilize the language Disney has in their job descriptions and implement that into your application or onto your resume. So that way, when the system goes through, it's gonna see, oh hey, they are into guest service, you know, magic, like efficiency. Just, you gotta think in the Disney terms of things and how they like want you to work for them as an employee. So essentially, you just need to remember that applicant tracking systems use a special language. Each system is different. They each are programmed to follow a certain lingo depending on the company that they are essentially like set up for, because a lot of companies use applicant tracking systems. You need to think like Disney has hundreds of thousands of applicants in a year. That means one recruiter can't just do that. It's honestly a computer system. And even in like my area, because I live in Connecticut, I live near 2 major casinos. I live near Higginson and I live near Foxwoods. And even then, they have to use an applicant tracking system in order to select the best candidate to move forward. So that way HR can see, oh hey, okay, they meet our qualifications. And then from there, it's like doing a phone interview or going in person and doing like an in-person like sit-down interview. Really cannot stress this enough. You really want to look for keywords. And again, I can't help you with exactly what those keywords are, because what worked for me might not work for you, but just do all the research you can, and I'll be sure to link like what I found that I have determined to be like the most helpful websites from Google, and I'll put them in the description box, and maybe they can help you guys too for your application.
Oh, tip number 3.
You want to make sure that you go through and spell check your application. And I know it's so dumb to think, hey, I know what spell check is, and I know that I don't have any errors, but you never know. You want to make sure that your resume and application are completely like grammatically correct and there are no errors, because the computer system will see if there's an error. And it could be something as simple as like taking the word keyword and putting a key dash word. You know, some people might not understand like certain terms like aren't abbreviated and whatnot. It's just make sure like all your spelling errors are taken care of before you send in your application.
Tip number 4.
This is something I had seen when I was Googling applicant tracking systems and kind of how to bypass the system and, you know, get my application reviewed this time, or like to kind of move forward. And one of the things I have come across is make sure if you attach a resume to your application, it is in a .docx file rather than a PDF, because the system software, or the ATS, will have a better time reading a .docx file versus a PDF. Now, I don't know if it's because it has to do with you kind of need Acrobat in order to read a PDF file versus where most systems can kind of look at a doc form and easily like convert it into a file that is readable. To go along with that, you also want to make sure you include bullet points into your resume, so that way when the system is scanning through, it'll see it in a list versus just like a wall of text, and that way it can scan through your application much faster with bullet points instead of just like, oh, here's just a jumble of words. And to piggyback on that as well is make sure your job description is at least 150 words. I know that seems like a lot just to like describe a job, but I'm telling you, you will find boatloads of job descriptions on the internet that match your job. Like I'm not kidding you. Like even for me, because I work for a major retailer right now, you know, one of those big box stores, and what I did for my application for like describing my job is I looked up my actual job description from my company and utilized their job description onto my application. So you can do things like that, but just make sure, you know, it's long enough, you're using bullet points, and yeah, your file form.
5.
Do not be discouraged. Now, my first semester of going through submission, I was extremely upset and discouraged that, you know what, maybe this wasn't meant for me, maybe this wasn't meant to be, maybe, you know, I'm too old to be doing the DCP, you know, I'm never gonna get to move on. And then after a while, you know, I've come to accept that I was in submission. And even the second time when I applied for fall 2016, again, once I got submission, you know, I was like, you know, I tried again and I'm not giving up hope. So in a way, don't get discouraged. And tip number 6 to go off, don't be discouraged, don't give up hope. Because yes, you know, you are in submission right now, and submission sucks, like it really does. And you know, so many people like don't really understand what it's like to be in submission, because a lot of people don't end up going into submission. But it truly does suck to be in. But don't give up and like never stop dreaming, because the best thing you can do is to, you know, keep moving forward. You know, just keep swimming, as Dory would say. And yeah, just keep trying. If you get knocked off your bicycle, you get up and you keep going. You don't just stop there because a computer system says that you're in submission. There is always the hope that you could be pulled out, and I could be completely wrong. Do not ever take anything I'm saying, because this is all just my personal like opinion on what submission was like for me. So just because you hit that little bump in the road right now, there's always next time. Just tell yourself there's always next time. Don't give up on the dream. And as of right now, let's see, we're in September. Applications for fall dropped early January, so you have less than 6 months until the next application season comes out, and this is your time for you to like make yourself shine and make yourself stand out and be the best candidate that you could be, so you can move forward and you can join us on this amazing journey that, you know, I hope, but you know what, even if I don't get selected to be in the program this time, I am still so satisfied and happy that I made it this far, you know. So anyway, this is just my take on being in submission and hoping I can help someone else out there as well with their submission status, and kind of understanding how I kind of have a feeling the system works. I'm not a professional, I don't work for Disney, I'm not a recruiter, it's just hit and miss and doing lots of research, and yeah, so I hope I really helped some of you out there, and yeah, have a magical day, guys. Bye.